Hi everyone, welcome to this webinar to present the result of the joint industry project Now on the theme of the impacts of climate change on offshore wind. I'm Youen Kervella from France Énergie Marine, and I'm the manager of this project. In a few words, Now is an R&D project that lasted 18 months from October 2023 to April 2025. The project budget was 725 kilo euros, which received funding from France Énergie Marine and its member and partners, as well as French state funding managed by the National Research Agency under the France 2030 investment plan. This is the first 2C project led by France Énergie Marine, and other projects will soon be launched on the theme of climate change. We will discuss them again at the end of this webinar. The main objectives of the Now project were to provide the French offshore wind sector stakeholders with various appropriate indicators to assess the expected evolutions for the next decades in terms of wind resource and associated production and also design conditions. The idea was also to assess uncertainties of current approaches and reduce the risk of conservatism, leading to reduced cost for offshore wind and better business plans for developers. 9 partners were involved in this project, whose logo you can see on the right, making Now a mix between academic and industrial partners. Here is the agenda for this webinar. Please note that your microphones are muted, but you can ask questions in the chat using the Q&A button. The various speaker will answer these questions at the end of the webinar. We will begin this webinar with Laurent Dubus, who will present the context of this project. Laurent is part of RTE, the French transmission system operator. He is the founder and non-executive director of the WEMC, the World Energy and Meteorology Council, and also the convener of the ENSOE Expert Team Climate. Laurent was our scientific pilot during the Now project. We will then hand over to Boutaina Weslati from EDF R&D's Osiris laboratory. Boutaina is an expert in wind climate models, statistics, and applications in the energy sector. She led a Now work package dedicated to the impacts of climate change on wind resource and wind energy production, and will present its main results. Next will be Nicolas Raya, the leader of a Now work package dedicated to the impacts of climate change on the design of offshore structures. Nicolas is an expert in statistics dedicated to the marine environment, particularly in extreme analysis. He is part of the Limar laboratory at Ifremer. Then I will take over to present the main output resources of this project, that is to say the deliverables, the scientific papers, and also the online platform. And Cédric Dalozzo from EDF Renewables, an expert in wind energy production and who actively followed the Now project, will present an industrial perspective on the project contributions. Finally, Laurent will speak again to conclude this webinar, share some takeaway messages, and discuss the outlook before the Q&A session where we can discuss with you. Laurent, I will give you the floor to present the project context.
Yes, thank you very much, Youen. Good afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure to indeed start this webinar with a very short introduction. So as Youen explained, the project is about the impacts of climate change on the French offshore industry. Why did we work on this? It's mainly because France has very strong ambitions for the development of offshore wind. You can see the figures on the left, with a target of 40 gigawatts installed by 2050, partly to fulfill the energy transition targets, It has been even updated to 45 gigawatts installed by 2050. In 2023, yeah, there are still some discussions about the evolution of those numbers with the currently discussed policy for the development of renewables. But whatever the figures, wind energy, offshore wind energy, will play a central role in the energy transition in France. And as you can see on the map on the right, you can see all the details. But the important thing is that wind farms are already developed and will be developed over the three seafronts, the three main seafronts of France, so including the Channel, the Atlantic Ocean, and the Mediterranean. Next slide, please. The problem now is that, as you may know, Earth's climate is changing. So on the left, you can see a plot from the Copernicus Climate Change Service, which is the climate monitor. So it shows the monthly values of the temperature anomaly all over the globe with respect to the pre-industrial level. So meaning the average from 1850 to 1900. And what you can see, of course, there is that temperature is rising globally. And if we just extrapolate the recent trend over the last 30 years or so, we can see that we may reach an anomaly temperature of 1.5 degree around 2030. And you probably remember that this threshold of 1.5 degree increase in temperature was what the Paris Agreement in 2015 set up for the end of the century. So the warming is going much faster than it should to keep the planet livable. Sorry, and so there are foreseeing impacts of climate change on every aspect of life. And the question central to this project is what might be the effects of climate change on the offshore wind industry. Next slide, please. So the good, or some part of the good news at least, is that the context is pretty favorable for such studies because on the one hand, there is all the data and projections available from the IPCC, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, which published its latest report 2 years ago now, 2 years ago in 2023. But there's also very strong development of climate services, in particular with the Copernicus Climate Change Service, which is part of the European effort to provide information about the climate, both in terms of monitoring the past climate, but also forecasting or trying to assess what will be the climate in the future with different climate projections and sectoral applications, including for energy. So there's a lot of data available that can be used for such endeavors. Next slide, please. So coming to the project itself, so it was really envisaged as a significant step forward because, to our knowledge, it's the first time that climate projections are being used to estimate climate change impacts on the full operational chain related to wind energy. So starting from wind resource to turbines design and also power generation, and also including the impacts on infrastructure with the cable landing zone. And so for that, the methodology deployed into CINO was made of mainly 6 steps, which are described just above. I won't go into the details because that will be the topic of the 2 following presentations by Budena and Nicola.